Chapter 5, Good Little Boy. I told you, Eddie said after school. They're elves. You don't know that, Melody told him. She sat down under the oak tree and looked at Eddie. If they're not elves, then why do they have a toy workshop in their trailer? Eddie asked. Howie held up his hand. They probably have a good reason. We still don't have any proof that they're elves. Eddie pointed at the playground. A huge area had been plowed, covered with pea gravel, and surrounded by a heavy wood border. I do know, Eddie said, nobody works that fast, unless they have some kind of magical powers. Liza finished Eddie's sentence. Besides, Eddie said, if they're not elves, what were they doing with all those presents? There are lots of reasons. Maybe they help with toys for the needy, Melody said. Howie pulled his gloves out of his jacket pocket and put them on. You can't prove that Hollis Bell and his men are elves. Eddie frowned. I guess you're right. I might know a way. It's what I was thinking about before, Liza said softly. We can ask the elf expert. Eddie looked at her and smiled. Who is an elf expert? Who else? Liza said. Santa Claus, of course. Eddie patted her on the head. I hate to break it to you, but Santa Claus doesn't hang around Bailey City. Howie laughed. He usually comes only once a year on Christmas Eve. Well, Liza said, buttoning her coat. There is a department store Santa at Dover's. Maybe he knows something about elves. Right. He probably learned all about them in Santa school. Eddie giggled. Liza put her hands on her hips. Do you have any better ideas? All right, Eddie admitted. It's worth a try. The kids grabbed their book bags and ran down Forest Lane. Around the corner from Burger Joule Restaurant was Dover's department store. A long line was at the entrance. Tiny children, dressed in their best clothes, were jumping up and down in anticipation of seeing Santa. One little boy looked at Eddie and smiled. I've been a good boy. Santa's going to bring me lots of toys. Melody giggled. Eddie hasn't been very good. He'll probably get a bundle of coal. Very funny reindeer face, Eddie grumbled. Liza looked at the line and sighed. You two should try to get along. We're going to have to wait for a long time to see Santa. Liza was right. The kids waited an hour before they got up to Santa. He was sitting on a big red throne with decorated Christmas trees all around him. Ho, 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 the department store Santa chuckled. His blue eyes twinkled underneath his bushy white eyebrows. These must be some fine students from Bailey Elementary. Liza and Howie nodded. Ho, 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 Santa said again. I've been meaning to pay Bailey Elementary a visit. We'd love to have you, Liza said politely. But right now we have a problem, Eddie blurted. Santa shifted in his chair and pulled the kids in close to him. Eddie heard jingling as Santa put his arm around him. What can I do for you, Eddie? How did he know Eddie's name? Melody whispered. Santa knows everything, Liza whispered back. Eddie told him about Bell Construction Company and that he thought the workers might be elves. When Eddie was finished, Santa smiled and winked. Ho, ho, those elves certainly are a hard-working bunch. I've been telling them they need to slow down and let people work out their own problems. But then again, my wife's been telling me that for hundreds of years, too. Problems? Eddie said. We don't have any problems at Bailey Elementary, except that our teacher works us to death. Santa winked at Eddie. My elves are everywhere. They can fix anything. But what they like to fix most are people who can't get along. Liza shook her head. They have their work cut out with Eddie. He has trouble getting along with just about everybody. Eddie sneered at Liza, but Santa just chuckled. I think there must be more trouble than just one red-headed boy, or my elves wouldn't be there. Keep your eyes open. You'll see." "See what?" Howie asked. Santa chuckled again. Then he patted Howie's head. "Elves are magical creatures, my own special helpers. Don't worry about them. When the time is right, they'll disappear." As Eddie, Melody, Liza, and Howie walked away, they heard a jingle as Santa helped a little girl onto his lap. "Ho, ho, ho!" Santa bellowed. "Well, you heard Santa," Liza told them after they were outside Dover's. "We have nothing to worry about." "Maybe we don't," Eddie said, "but those elves do." "What are you talking about?" Melody asked. Eddie looked at each of his friends before speaking. "I'm going to prove that Hollis Bell is an elf."